The opinions expressed in this television show is solely that of the person who expressed them and not the opinion of the Emily Pearl Show, its sponsors, or affiliates. Although the Emily Pearl Show may take stances on individual shows, the show itself remains an entertainment platform. Free thought is a philosophy and not a policy.
Hello, Thunderbirds. What's the word? Woo, it's been a while since we have been live with Pearl's Politics. Hello, Sandra. All right. Hi, Terry Prost. Sandra says hello, everyone. I know that a lot of people probably will not be watching politics because, I understand everybody is just fed up with politics. We've been hearing so much of it this year. But unfortunately, it's still going on. We got the Senate races in Georgia going on. Now, I'm not going to be on here, but probably about 15 minutes. Right. And that's because I'm just doing a brief year end broadcast. I'm doing year-end broadcasts on my other shows, and there was no way I was going to forget about you, political thunderbirds out there. No way, no way, no how. All right, even if it is a short show. All right, Sandra says she wants to know about the stimulus. That's right. Please type in. Let me know what you want to hear. Okay. The latest on the stimulus I just heard this morning is that President Trump signed the bill that the Congress had agreed on, um, on what was it, Thursday or Wednesday, whatever day last week. Yeah, he had held out saying that he had wanted everybody to get $2,000 instead of $600. Well, he did sign the bill. So once Congress go ahead and put their stamp approval on it and get things, then things will begin to get in motion and everybody will receive $600. But the Democrats and the Republicans are in council right now in Congress trying to see if they really can go ahead and get it up to $2,000. Now, if they do agree on that, I don't know how they would do that since they are going to go ahead and try to start issuing the $600 per person as soon as possible. I imagine that if they did, they would probably just go ahead with the issuance of the $600, and then later on, maybe 2, 3 weeks after that, hopefully not that long, then they would issue the remaining So that would be like if both the Republicans and the Democrats agree to meet current President Trump's wish for the $2,000 for each person. That would mean like you would get probably $600 first and then $1,400. But what most analysts, political analysts, are saying right now, Sandra, is they doubt if Mitch McConnell and the Republicans will agree to the $2,000. And because the Republicans have control of the House right now. Hi, Stephanie. And this is why it is so important. People are saying that these two Senate races in Georgia is won by the Democrats, because then that would put the Democrats in control of the Senate. And of course, if the Democrats agree on something in future in the House of Representatives, then it would be automatically agreed on in the Senate, you see. So this is why every politics is still going on, because the race that we voted for in November in Georgia was challenged by those two Republican candidates, okay, and the RNC. And the RNC stands for the Republic National Committee. Yeah. So that's why politics is still going on, with the Senate race to be the final voting day is January the 6th. And so January the 6th will decide who wins the two Georgia seats, rather, what party. And so now my prediction is that the Democrats will win. And I only say that because of the divinity ship that has followed Joe Biden. And Joe Biden, and the reason I say that it's a divinity ship is because Joe Biden, when they had all these 20 odd people running for the president, it dwindled on down and dwindled on down to Joe Biden and about three other candidates. And at one time, they had Michael Bloomberg to be the projected candidate for the Democratic Party. Well, Michael Bloomberg ended up dropping out. I don't know why. I do know, but somewhere in my head, I just forgot. I just forgot why. Okay. But anyway, and that left only Joe Biden, right? And he was at the very bottom for months. Many had counted him out, said that he wouldn't have a chance to win. And I must confess, even myself, at that point, I had counted him out. And that just goes to show why you can never count anybody out. And that's why I say this is where I'm putting the divinity ship in, because Matthew chapter 20, verse 16 says, "So the last shall be first." That's Joe Biden. "And the first shall be last." That's President Trump. "For many will be called." That was the 20, all of them that was running. "But few are chosen." Now, of that few that are chosen, I associate with the divinity that God chooses, okay? Because God has power over politics and everything else, even though society does not like to mix religion with politics. But they forget or they just don't want to acknowledge that God has all power over everything. Mhm. So that's what's going on with the stimulus check, Sandra. I hope I answered your question. And staying in that range of topics, this year, 2020, as far as politics are concerned, um, the Republican Party started out fair. Not good, not really good. They started out just fair based on public opinion. Where they get these polls from, I have no clue because they didn't ask me. They seem to select the people that they expect to give them the answer that they want to have. But anyway, but as time went on and this COVID came in, the Republican Party drug its feet. Mm-hmm. And then when we got towards the end and got to the presidential election, Republicans had a temper tantrum instead of being a true gambler. Because politics is nothing but a gamble. And I associate that with this old country song. There's a country western song that was sung by Kenny Rogers. And he says that you got to know when to hold and you got to know when to fold. Well, the history books and scholars will be talking about this particular year in politics of 2020 for years down the road. Our grandchildren and our great grandchildren will be talking about it in their lessons. And Republicans, you are going to go down in history with a legacy of shame, shame, shame. And there's nobody to blame but yourselves, you know. And because when things didn't go your way, you wanted to blame everybody and their grandma for what you done yourselves. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You blame social media platforms. You blame even attack the post office. You know, and that's just tantrum like. That was not a gentlemanly political position to take at all. That's why the canon books are going to put your legacy as the facts are recorded. These facts are recorded in black and white. And when they are in black and white, they are concrete. Because there's too many sources that exist that have these facts in black and white. So you just can't go and say, well, take that out. Don't put that in. Take that out. Because these resources are going to report the facts. Nothing but the facts. So therefore, in the history books, your legacy will be shame. 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 There will be a whole lot of scholastic reviews, historic documentaries on TV. That's right. And so the problem was, Republicans, is that y'all didn't know when to fold. You didn't know when to hold. And you would think that in 280 some odd days that you would have learned just that, when to fold and when to hold. But we're almost approaching the end of the year and 3 or 4 more days, and it seems like you guys still haven't learned. That's why I predict that those 2 Senate races will be won by the Democrat candidates, simply because y'all Republicans, Y'all have made a lot of people angry. Hmm. Y'all have made a lot of people sad, distressed, and stressed. Because when the stimulus check, the one they got in, what was it, February, March, they didn't get any more and still hadn't got any more. So that means that they haven't had a way to help them continue to pay their bills. Hmm. They haven't had a way to put food on their tables. Hmm. And now the unemployment check ended on the 26th, Saturday, for the billions of Americans that was getting it. Hmm. And so, you see, President Trump signed it last night, but the mistake was not signing it last week before the unemployment benefits ran out, or the rental assistance, the rental uh, mandatory no eviction ran out. That was the mistake. You didn't know when to fold. Hmm. So people are still angry because now they got to deal with still January, first week of January, coming in with no money, no stimulus check, and no unemployment check. And when are most rents due? Most rents, even on houses and apartments, are due on the first of the month. Am I not right? Hmm. So when January the 1st comes, which is what? Friday of this week, people won't be able to pay their rent. And the eviction, no eviction won't be in effect. The no eviction clause will not have taken effect. And that's sad because I guarantee you there are landlords right now, because this is a weekday, courthouses are open, lawyers are open. There are landlords right now drawing up papers to have people evicted. Mhm. That's sad. So you see, people are sad. People are upset with the Republican Party. Mhm. Now, there are laws about evictions. There are laws about evictions. Most every state has an eviction law. In other words, if an eviction notice is presented to a tenant, depending on the state, they have a certain amount of time to leave the premises. Mhm. I think in most states it's 30 days. Mhm. So if you're thinking that, well, everybody will have their stimulus check by the end of January, well, that's true. They will. But the problem is this: the eviction has already been approved by a court and okayed by a court for you to leave the premises. And what that eviction reads, the fine print that's on the eviction is, unless you can pay in full, you have to leave the premises. Mhm. You cannot tell the landlord that When my stimulus check is coming, I'll have $600, or my unemployment benefits will get started again, and I'll be able to start back to paying. For some landlords that have the right heart, a kind heart, they may say, okay. But those hard-hearted landlords, and we know there are more hard-hearted landlords out there than there are kind-hearted ones, right? But those hard-hearted landlords are gonna say no. And because of that fine print on that eviction notice, where you can only stay if you can pay in full, a lot of people are still going to be kicked out. hmm So I'm going to have to read, once they release it, the mandatory no eviction document that they have in this COVID corona's bill, because I got to see if they thought about this. I got to see. I'm going to have to read it. And then I'll be coming back to y'all as soon as I read it. I'll be coming back. But this is my last show for December, because I know that the document will not be released by Friday. I'll just know, because that's how slow Washington is. Okay. But as soon as I can read the small print on it, I will let y'all know if they have some type of restriction which would not allow those landlords which are right this week filing eviction notices to demand that you get out of their premises without having to pay in full what you owe. So if there are any congressmen out there that's listening to this show, or y'all can share it to y'all congressmen to let them know, look, if y'all haven't put in some type of addendum on this no eviction notice clause and no eviction document, y'all need to add an addendum to it to make sure that these landlords cannot file this week while the no eviction mandate it has expired. So because it expired on Saturday, and yeah, and the reason why it's expired on Saturday is because I know what y'all saying. Y'all saying, well, that wasn't the last week in December. Yes, it was. That was the last full week. Because what? January 1st comes on a Friday, which is the what? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 6th day of a beginning of a new week. Because most weeks, a full week that's not in government is not in until on Saturday. That's when they consider the week ended. hmm hmm And so December the 26th was the last full week in the month of December. And that's why everything ended on Saturday. hmm So these lawyers, they in the all they I mean, these landlords, they're contacting their lawyers today. Courthouses are open today, and these lawyers are rushed in, lined up, faxing over eviction notices for approval from the court. And the court has today, tomorrow, and I don't know if the courts are closed on Christmas, I don't know, New Year's Eve or not, but most businesses are not closed on New Year's Eve. So they've got today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, 3 whole days to approve those evictions. Why? It's because, like I said, President Trump didn't sign the bill until last night. Now it just goes across the street or next door, wherever it goes in Congress. Got to take a vote on it. The approval. Y'all know how timely that is now. They got to make sure they get everybody in there, uh, virtual or in person. Some of the virtuals aren't going to be able to connect. They're going to keep getting disconnected. That's going to take 2 days just to get them to vote on the floor. Yeah. So you see, it's just a long, long process. And it just adds more reasons to the legacy of shame, shame, shame for the Republican Party. How would they regroup in 2021? But I tell y'all one thing, Republicans, y'all can't keep doing the same thing y'all did in 2021. Because y'all lost the people. Y'all lost the people. Completely lost. People gonna say this didn't work, so I'm gonna try the other fella. That's what they're gonna say. Your legacy in the history books, historians, scholars of the year 2021 will be shame, shame, shame. All right, y'all. I told y'all it's gonna be short today. Always remember, everything that we do, everything involved in our lives has something to do with politics, whether we like it or not. So that's why I come to you to try to keep you involved as to what's going on. And we talked about today the political legacy of the year 2020. I did cover the political year for Democrats, and that was simply this. They never gave up. Joe Biden never gave up. Apparently, he was chosen, as Matthew chapter 20:16 says, because it said that the last shall be first, and he was definitely last on the list of public opinion. But he hung in there. He persevered on. He was talked about like Jesus Christ. But he kept on going. What would his political legacy be for the year 21? I mean, the year 2020. Well, I'll tell you one thing. It sure won't look like the political legacy. In fact, written in black and white, like shame, shame, shame. It won't be that. It won't be that. Historians won't be saying that about the Democratic Party for 2020. So that was my summary. And of course, y'all know I'm a history minor. I guess that's one reason why I like politics. Because politics is really what kind of makes history, what determines history. Even though we know the meaning of history is simply his story. But in politics, there are a lot of his and there are a lot of she's, a lot of hers. So when all of those are combined, it makes history. That's what history is compiled out of. His story, her story. Yeah. So if the Lord say the same, I will see y'all as soon as I get to look at that document about mandatory no eviction, the new one that they're going to pass, so I can look at the fine print, see if they have an addendum in there to prevent these eviction notices that's going to be handed out from making the tenants have to pay in full in order to stay on the premises. That's the main thing I want to know from it, because if it doesn't include that, then these landlords still have the power to evict people. See, they don't tell the full story on the news. You got to know some law in order to know about these things. And for those of you that don't know, I have a 2-year associate's degree in paralegal studies. And I took up paralegal studies basically for myself so that I could know how the law works. I didn't take it up to work as some lawyers paralegal. Because before the internet got so popular, you used to have to walk all these files and case files and go to the law libraries and research and do all that walking. I've never been one for a lot of walking. I hadn't been able to do it. So I knew I wasn't going to be a paralegal. But I wanted to know, have the knowledge to know how to read and interpret law. And I do. And you can learn yourself. All you got to do is go to your state's annotated code, and they're on the internet now, and see what your state code says about different ordinances and laws for that state. So that's how I know that with an eviction notice, there always is some fine print. So I will let y'all know about it as soon as I get a chance to read it for myself, okay? All right, I love y'all. And don't forget, free thought, what you think up here, is a philosophy and not a policy, okay? All right, love y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.